Hello and welcome to another video. This is Debsbeeing and I'm Deb, and today we're making a skirt. A few months ago, I started minimizing my closet so that I'd only have clothes that I actually wear, making sure that each item could be used in at least 3 different outfits. Wanting to own less has caused me to become fascinated with versatile clothing. One such item that I found in my travels is a skirt that has an attachment that makes it into a pinafore dress. So it's both the skirt and a dress. With a vague idea in mind, I set out on my mission and made my own. And here's how I did it. First, you will need 2 skirt pieces measured from your waist to your desired length plus 2 inches. My length is 24 inches. Make sure it has an equal length all across so the hem doesn't sit funny. For the top, measure your waist and divide that measurement by 2, adding an inch for seam allowance and an inch for zipper allowance. For the bottom, I used my full waist measurement because I wanted the skirt to be A-line. Mine is 30 inches. I made my waistband far too big because I like wiggle room for mistakes. I made mine my waist measurement plus 5 inches by 4 inches. For the front of the pinafore, I measured bra strap to bra strap, and that was my top measurement, which for me is 11.5 inches. The bottom I measured at my waist, side seam to side seam, which was 18.5 inches, and I made it to be 12 inches in length. I added seam allowances to these measurements. For the pinafore back, I made a rectangle 11.5 by 10.75 inches, and the straps I made 28.75 by 3.75 inches. I also used some sew-on snaps and a zipper. Now the sewing. I serged around both skirt pieces separately, then sewed one side seam together. Then I pinned and hemmed the bottom. For the waistband, I serged around it, then folded the short ends in half and pinned them down. I sewed along these seams, cut the corners, and turned them inside out. Then I pinned the waistband to the waist of the skirt, leaving a bit of space to put the zipper in. I sewed it together and top stitched it down. Then I tried it on and realized that I was too generous with the waist and it was a bit too long as well. So I folded down the top until it was a better length and pinned the length that I liked it. Then I measured the length and unfolded the skirt. Measuring up from the hem, I marked my new length and cut it out. Then I ripped the waistband off the discarded bit, which took a long time. I remeasured my waist and took in the waistband a few inches, cutting it to size and sewing a new seam. I serged along the top edge. Then I quartered the waistband and the skirt with pins. I matched up the pins and pinned the 2 seams together. I sewed along this seam, and then I top stitched it down. I folded my skirt in half and marked the zipper length and sewed from the hem up to the mark. Then I sewed the zip in by hand. I actually ended up using a longer zip than this one because this one wouldn't let me in and out of the skirt. I know I don't do zippers right, they frustrate me. I will link a tutorial for zippers in the box below. I tried the skirt on again and decided it was still too long and the fabric was a little see-through, so I'd cut a few inches off the bottom and re-hemmed it. Then I chose some lining fabric and traced and cut out 2 skirt pieces, adding seam allowance. I made it a bit longer than the main skirt so it would peek out a bit. I serged around the edges and sewed a side seam together and hemmed the bottom. I then paused in the lining because I decided I wanted pockets. I cut out 4 hand-sized rectangles with rounded bottoms and serged around each one. Then I measured a line 1 inch down and 1 inch in from each edge on 2 of the rectangles. Then I pinned the rectangles where I wanted them on the skirt, equal distance from the waist and side seams. I drew a small rectangle around the lines I had already made and hand sewed along the perimeter. Then I cut along the original line, making angled cuts at the corners. I pushed the rectangle through the slit, then pinned and sewed it down. Et voila! The semblance of a pocket. I turned the skirt inside out and pinned the other pocket squares on top and sewed them into place. Real pockets! Then I sewed the lining in along the waist seam, pinned and sewed around the zip, and pinned the rest of the side seam closed. For the straps, I folded them in half and sewed along the long seam and flipped them inside out with my loop turner. Grabbing one of the front pinafore pieces, I pinned the straps on close to the top corners. Then I sandwiched the other front piece on top, pinned it into place, and sewed along these seams. I flipped it inside out using a knitting needle to push out the corners, and top stitched around. I repeated with the back piece, pinning the straps in the top corners, sandwiching the other back on top, and sewing along 3 edges, flipping it inside out and top stitching. I serged along the bottom seams, then got out my snaps. I put one on each corner and in the middle of the front piece, and then I did one on each edge of the back piece. I ended up using hook and eyes for the sides on the front because they seemed to work better than the snaps and stayed in place better. For the back, I got my brother to help me measure so it would be the proper height. He put pins where the back meets the top of the waistband. From the pins, I marked 2 inches down and cut and serged along that line. Then I sewed the snaps into place and I was done! a skirt that can convert into a pinafore. I ended up taking out the lining because I didn't like the look of it, and I wear a slip underneath instead. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that it made sense to you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!